The next thing we're going to do is start to look at scale. And I'm not going to explain what we're going to do with scale yet. I just want to explain the premise upon which we're going to study scale. Um, so Maxwell is interesting because it's a physically accurate renderer, rendering engine. So what it does is it basically acts like a real camera. And you can do some really cool different things with a camera when you're trying to photograph buildings versus when you're trying to photograph things in a building. So um, what we're going to do, and this is kind of a fun study, it's easier to work with lens settings when you're working at a small scale, as if you're in a studio, like a photography studio. So just real quick. This is kind of like the inspiration image. Um, what this sort of thing allows us to do is hyper control the light in the space that we're trying to, or for the object that we're trying to render. Unfortunately, we have to sort of abstract the object from the environment in order to do it. Not necessarily, but we're going to start off with just extracting the building, scaling it down, and rendering it as a model. It's kind of funny because we build models in architecture school and we photograph them, but you don't often model it and then digitally photograph it, like without a real camera. Not a digital camera, but even a camera that lives in the digital world. So that's what we're going to do, because it's a lot easier to understand how to like play with depth of field and stuff like that when you're looking at it in small scale. So what we need to do, and you guys can basically do this at any time, is we're actually going to create a little studio. So that's going to allow us at any time to just grab our pavilion building, scale it down to the right size, and then pop it in there and then just photograph it. You'll have some presets for it and everything. But the key is, and if you look at this studio, what you've got are backdrops, and the backdrops are there to allow you to sort of bleed the environment away, so you don't have shadows in corners. Have you ever seen? I think it's just called a white room. I don't know what they call it. Infinity room, maybe. Yeah, sure, something like this. Basically, what it is it's just a room with rolled corners and lots of light that allows you to completely erase shadows around that corner. So we're going to build that. It's not going to turn out perfect because in this environment it doesn't work so well. Like here you can see there are no corners. The movie The Matrix, right? The first time they plug into the Matrix and there's nothing there, they did that in one of these rooms. That was done in one of those rooms. So anyway, we're just gonna build a little studio, and then we're going to start building in some of the lights that we're going to work with. So all I need you to do is build, let's create, we'll call this white room wall. And make it sizable. So I'm going to just create a box that is at 20 feet by 20 feet. And I'll make it 15 feet tall. Oh, it happens to be sitting a little bit low. I'll elevate it 2 feet. Okay. Grab the front face of it and delete it. So this particular space is a little funky. I like to. You can do this a few ways. You can create a curve at the corner and then just sort of sweep the corner. You can fillet a bunch of things together. You can snip and fillet other corners. However you want to construct it, it doesn't matter to me. It's fine by me how you want to do it. I'm just going to do a little polyline here. And then in the, what view am I in? In this view, I don't know where my curve's going to wind up, but we'll see. let's do circle. We'll go about, trying to think of how far into the space I want to go. We'll go like that. Oh, I need project on, and I need intersect. Grab it from here, move it there. Oh, it's in the wrong view. Let's turn it around 90 degrees. There we go. This is the view I want. Cool. Let me put this on the front of it and then move it into place. So I'm going to move it from this corner here and from the center point. It's not letting me grab it. Let's do a line. There we go. Intersection to there. There we go. So all I was trying to do there was just get the ability to trim that thing. And I'm just going to do a sweep. So I'm going to say sweep 1, select this rail, pick that. There we go. And then you can do a few things in this corner. Will it let me fillet that? I don't know if that'll let me fillet it. Whoops. Is that pretty enough? I don't know how accurate that is. I don't really like it. How did I do it last time? I think I did a revolve. That's what I did. Let's see, I'll copy this back and I'll just kind of trim and revolve. Let's get in plan view. Sorry, this is getting a little lengthy, but I know there's probably a more efficient way to do it, but since I'm on the spot, that's just how I'm doing it. Mirror that. Cool. Trim. I'm going to cut with all 4 of these. And then you can revolve. Revolve requires an axis to revolve, so you kind of need to draw like a little line here. Doesn't matter where you draw it really, just as long as it's in the center of the revolve. And then I'm going to revolve this axis from there to there. Start here and there. Again, this one, grab that curve. Axis is here to here. Start there and there. There we go. Good enough for me. So that's the gist of it. I mean, you kind of need to grab this edge and extrude it up in order to get the full corner. I always forget my hotkeys here. There we go. That's not it. Alt, click. There we go. So once you get that, if you put it in a rendered view, well, you won't be able to see it that well, but you'll see that it's going to give you that sort of smooth edge that you're looking for. So in essence, well, finally rendered out. In essence, what we want is to create something like that so that when we start blasting it with light, it's actually going to show us a more smoother edge, and it's not going to give us too much shadow in the corner. It won't be perfect. You'll still see some of it, but you just want to try and soften the corners a little bit in order to give you a better background for photographing. Okay? What questions do you have? All right, cool. So I'm going to label this as setting up your photography studio. And at some point by next week on Tuesday, you'll have to have this. Okay.